black water. That is what they called the punishment of being sent here. Not just the ocean, the sentence itself. And standing inside these walls today, I finally understand why. The British were not careless when they built this place. They chose islands 1,400 kilometers from the mainland, far enough that escape was impossible, far enough that news could not travel, far enough that the people inside would eventually stop feeling like they belonged to a country at all. That was the design. I am going to walk you through every part of it. The Cellular Jail was built between 1896 and 1906. A full decade of construction. 696 cells. 7 wings radiating from a central watchtower like the spokes of a wheel. The bricks were shipped from Burma, puce colored, dense, still standing today more than a century later. 30 lakh bricks, many of them made by the prisoners themselves, forced to build the very walls that would hold them. Each cell 13.5 feet long, 7 feet wide. A ventilator cut into the wall 10 feet above the floor. High enough to let in air, too high to ever see the sky. But the cruelest detail was not the cell size. I found that the hardest thing to stand next to, a cell with a guard outside it. The only one in the entire jail. I want to tell you whose cell that was. Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, Veer Savarkar. He arrived at this jail on July 4th, 1911, sentenced to 50 years. He was 27 years old. He spent 10 years inside these walls. Insufficient food, forced labor, no communication with family. The constant sound of the ocean he could never reach. His elder brother Ganesh was imprisoned here too. 2 brothers, same jail. Despite or because of the conditions, he became a central figure, nicknamed Bade Babu by fellow inmates, providing moral support and guidance. I stood inside that cell for a long time. I thought about what it takes to hold on to who you are, in a room this size, surrounded by an ocean you cannot cross, in a country that is not yet free. Whatever you believe about what came after, whatever the debates, the petitions, the politics, what happened in this cell, in this jail, in these years, is not debatable. He was here. He endured this. He did not break, and he was one of thousands. The photographs at the entrance, the freedom fighters who passed through here, there are names in there you will not recognize. Not because they were unimportant, because history, as it gets compressed into textbooks, loses people. Over 80,000 Indians passed through this penal colony. 80,000. This building held the weight of a revolution, and the British built it specifically so the revolution. But here is the part that stopped me. The wings were positioned deliberately, the front of each wing facing the back of the next, which meant no prisoner standing at his cell door could ever see another human face. Not across the corridor, not across the yard. Total visual isolation. It was something built into the layout itself, something I only understood when I stood in the corridor and looked around. Let me show you. This jail had no bugs. Every decision, the wing angles, the ventilator height, the sight lines from the watchtower, executed precisely as intended. Someone wrote the specification for human suffering, and this building is the output. The jail was designed on what is called the Panopticon Theory. A single guard, standing at the central watchtower, could see into every wing simultaneously. Every prisoner, every corridor, every cell door, at all times. People suffered incomprehensibly in these walls, so that this version of India and the version of me that can wander through it could exist. I am not prone to grand statements, but inside that courtyard, I felt a gratitude so large I did not know what to do with it. In the evening, they hold a light and sound show. The jail is lit. The narration, voiced by the late Om Puri, fills the courtyard. And for 40 minutes, the names become real. I'm not going to describe it. You have to sit in that courtyard yourself. There is a less known path that runs from here down towards Jetty. A short walk, the ocean ahead. And out across that water, you can see an island. That island was the British headquarters. While the freedom fighters were in those cells, the colonial administration was living over there. A ballroom, a church, a printing press, a bakery, a golf course. They called it the Paris of the East. And that is where I'm going to take you in next week. Because to understand the full truth of Kala Pani, you have to see both sides of that water.